The female voice can be many things. It's not just this beautiful pop voice, and beauty can be many things. You know, it's like, it's that kind of dialogue, and that's what I'm interested in referencing.
So you played at Union Chapel last night, this beautiful church. Anyone who doesn't know it, it's backdropped by this beautiful stained glass, and Jamie played it like a solo set with these kind of like vaporous utopian vocals. It seemed very suited to you. You mentioned earlier that you have a church set.
When I was really young, a lot of what I did was sing in churches. So it's something I'm familiar with. I'd say like there's, maybe like an ancientness to the sound that I'm experiencing and trying to create when I'm in those spaces. But yeah, it's very choral. I kind of like take out more of the lower end kind of like kick drums and that kind of those elements and make it a bit more textural, and then just like super choral, lots and lots of layers of vocals.
So there's this lineage from the choral music that you performed when you were a kid. Like, how young are we talking? When did you get started in music broadly? I understand you played a bit of violin as well.
I can't fully recall. Like, I was a child. I started playing violin when I was 5. So I got like the smallest violin, the tiniest violin ever, to play. It was like an eighth. They do like eighth quarter anyways. It was like that big. And then I started singing around the same time. I was in choirs. I did this like young people's choir in New York City, which was amazing. We had to sing in like Carnegie Hall and like tons of churches all over the city. So that was when I was like, from when I was 8 until when I was like 13, I think I did that.
Did you feel like you were learning music as a discipline, or did it already feel creative or like a form of self-expression at that point?
It was always a form of self-expression for me, definitely. Like, I just wanted to find spaces to sing, really, like, and any space that I was looking for. So I was in Acappella groups too. I was writing music on my own and doing like open mics, and kind of found myself in a lot of different scenes, but all of it was really just coming from this like drive and passion to want to sing and be around others who shared that passion. When
you say a cappella groups, what kind of thing are we talking about?
Like when you sing all in a cappella. No, I was in actually like a jazzy one. And we were called the Wild Scats.
I gotta know more.
So
like, paint me a picture.
Actually, it's not embarrassing. I'm owning up to this. We did scat at times, and it was fun. But that was like when I was in high school. I just like wanted to find groups of people to sing with. It was my favorite thing. And I ended up finding someone around that time who had a recording studio, and then I was writing songs on guitar, and then that kind of opened up this whole other world of learning how to produce, because he was using Pro Tools, and kind of like learned how to use Pro Tools through recording my songs with him in his studio. So that was a whole other.
I think this will thread us back to Friend eventually, but I'm really curious how learning production changed your relationship with your voice and how you use your voice.
When I was young and I was writing songs, when you're singing, playing guitar, writing songs this way, which is how I approached songwriting for a very long time, it's pretty linear. It's kind of, you're just writing the chords down, you're trying things out, but you're writing lyrics down, and it's very, it's slow and it's over time. And you're kind of moving forward. With production, it's really transformed the way I approach songwriting, just because the editing aspect of everything in the DAW, like I just can chop and piece everything. My favorite thing about it is that the first feeling, like I'll get like an idea down, and then I'll know, okay, I want to put vocals on it now. Like I can feel the vocals now. And it could be just like a synth line or a guitar line or something really simple, like 1 track or 2 tracks, like a small beat. And then you put that first or second vocal line down, and like those are usually like the most sincere, like rawest kind of form of emotion, that capturing those moments is so important for me. I'll limit myself to like 7 or like 6 takes, but oftentimes a lot of what I'm using is in those first 2 takes. I'll take those first lines and then I'll edit them. And then this is where the production has really like played such a role in songwriting, is that I'll edit those lines and create those melodies and structure those melodies from those kind of just improvisations that I was doing. And then from there, like really flesh things out and kind of sample myself. I mean, it is kind of like sampling yourself.
It was super interesting to me to learn that you had been using your voice throughout your life, because the force of hearing you sing on Friend was kind of like as if it was this voice that had been waiting to be unleashed, like breaking out on some of these really euphoric songs with like the heavy percussion, which hasn't always been like as prominent in your records up to now.
I was writing another album before this and had finished that record. It's called Random Girl. That was extremely like just very sound designy. I was really interested in kind of like pushing the limits and learning sound design, and I had gotten really into like modular synthesizers, and I was like building my synth out and like getting really like heady into that world and wanting to create these like soundscapes. And I was also, it was a bit like darker of a moment for me. I was kind of like extracting some kind of like emotional things that were a bit harder edged, I guess. And for that, the voice is always in there. I just wanted to like kind of start with that the voice has always been really present. It's just been present in a very different way than it is in this record. And so in that record, Random Girl, which was the record previous to Friend, my voice was completely in every single track in many, 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 many layers. But, you know, I was putting it through effects. I recorded that actually in a church. One of the tracks I recorded with like 8 mics and like with I think it was like a 12-second reverb tail, like crazy. So it's all in that sound, very texturally. I was really building, and this is the way I approach songwriting and production, is I really like to build layers, and then I'll kind of like shave things down and kind of mold it. Maybe like, I don't know, a marble like sculptor. I realized that I wanted to kind of just like make things a bit more, not less dynamic, but just give space for the voice, and give space for a voice that was kind of a voice that I had been working with much earlier on in my songwriting, which in my like teenage years almost, like, which was just relating to me writing songs on guitar. So I knew writing this next record, or Friend, the record that just came out, I wanted the guitar to be a through line for the whole record, and that I wanted the vocals to be, you know, more legible. I wanted there to be more song structure and to play with song structure. So all of these things are apparent in what I was kind of aiming towards for it.
You said something really interesting in an interview with Truance around this record about how the classical pop voice is trying to get rid of the association with the body, which kind of like blew my mind a little bit, because I've always thought of a unique thing about kind of dream pop and ethereal vocals as them having this sense of like transcending the human form and becoming something vaporous. But you made me rethink it, because it's true, pop music's doing that too, right? It's trying to leave behind the human body and like get past the limitations of it and kind of deny its existence, whereas you were talking about having a different approach, specifically with like the stethoscope recording technique.
Yeah, again, this is on my previous record. I was really interested in creating like abject sounds, and I was, like philosophically, conceptually thinking about things like that, where, classical music aims to kind of like create this purity, and sometimes that purity I find is like problematic. And I was trying to find, the body in the voice more. So I created this stethoscope microphone, which is, my mom's a doctor, so I actually just borrowed her stethoscope. I was like, can I borrow that? And she let me. And I made this little like electret mic that I put at the end of it. So it just like amplifies, the stethoscope amplifies it, and then the mic takes the signal. What it's doing is it's amplifying the vibrations in your throat. So it's like a hum, but like from the inside. And so you can sing. And sometimes I'll actually have it, I'll hold it like here, and then also be singing with a mic, and it creates kind of like a double vocal that's really nice, like a body, and then this other vocal. But the like purity I was talking about with the voice, that was something that I came across when I was doing kind of choir singing and like applying to be in choirs. There's like a specific way you have to sing, and I was always kind of like pushing up against it. I was also studying a bit of jazz vocals when I was younger, and I really wanted to push that more. And the problem I found with like applications to these choirs was that they didn't want to hear you, like, because you're supposed to be in a big group. It's very specific how your voice is supposed to sound, and everyone's supposed to really become one voice, which is beautiful. If you get to be a part of that kind of thing, it's amazing. But that also upset me because I was wanting to be like a little different.
Yeah, but also like beyond wanting your own voice to be heard, I feel like there's something important about the idea of reconnecting the kind of ethereal voice with the like organic matter of the body. And that's part of what's sort of the problem with this like purity test of like erasing yourself in the voice. Yeah. I don't know, is there like some kind of like deeper spiritual or like moral thing there about like not aiming for purity, not trying to like
I mean, I think it
body?
comes from like a feminist desire, ultimately, like this desire to remind people that like, you know, the female voice can be many things. It's not just this beautiful pop voice, and beauty can be many things. You know, it's like, it's that kind of dialogue, and that's what I'm interested in referencing. And I think there's ways to do that also by creating like cyborg voices, and what I'm doing with like putting my voice through, you know, a granular synth or, you know, various effects. Like, you know, as a producer, like your effects chain is like kind of what it is. And like, there's a lot of effects going into what I'm doing. So all of that is just like challenging it as well. And it's endless what you can do.
The way that you use production is also so tactile, I feel sometimes. Like, I feel like certain frequencies that you're using are touching like parts of my body when I listen to your music. Like, how are you using I don't know, like different elements of production and different frequencies to not just like fill out the song, but also to kind of reach beyond the song and into the tactile space in the listener's mind?
When I'm writing a song, firstly, what I care about is the emotional aspect of it. And like, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier with vocal takes and trying to capture that, the emotion and kind of like the soul of the song. And then when I'm kind of producing and filling things out, which is like in later steps, then I'm thinking about just like, you know, just the frequency and the range. We need some kind of crispy moments, because those crispy moments kind of bring attention. What higher frequencies do to a brain is it actually like causes like an alert and like makes you pay more attention. And then lower frequencies, like sub-ear frequencies, this is like, you know, hitting the body. So like thinking about that, like how is that gonna like affect, you know, not in every space obviously, but in maybe a club space, this would, you know, really like would hit you in your stomach and kind of like make you feel something there kind of vibrationally. So I think it's important to fill out the stereo field. I think about that and all the reasons, everything having a place, not just for the sake of it, but like everything having an intentional like place.
I think another way that you tell a story through sounds is references. It can be like references to kind of evoking everyday things or just to different genres. I know that there's like, you've spoken about having elements of hip hop and jazz and jungle on the record. The jungle is like very in your face when it's there, and it's great. Like how are you using references to, I don't know, like engage with the thinking part of us as we hear the record, in addition to the bodily stuff that the production is doing?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that's like the fun part about making music also, is just like, yeah, there's this, I mean, what Nick was saying, it's like we're just, exposed to a lot now, and it's like, can be overwhelming, but I think like we all know as like musicians, like what touches us, and it's like genreless. Like I just like moods. I like different moods, and pulling from different genres and kind of combining things is just creating a narrative for me. And it's like, like what if this like hip hop thing was like combined with this, shoegaze, it's like, it's just fun. It's fun to do those, to create those combinations and see where it takes you. I mean, it's like playing with familiarity, basically. And that's really new. It's creating something new.
Do we have time for audience question? Yeah. Great. Anyone?
So something that just really struck me and reminded me of something, you're talking about like the kind of like the cyborg manipulation of your voice. And it reminded me of Donna Haraway's like Cyborg Manifesto, which maybe you know. Or
yeah.
if,
I definitely know.
Or, yeah. So basically, I'm wondering if basically like how that whole like idea of like the feminist Cyborg Manifesto actually like inspires you in your music creation, or if it like how it manifests for you.
It's just inspired me as a human more than anything. But yeah, with music, like I think what I talked about before is how it plays out in an obvious way. But yeah, the manifesto, that, and then also like a lot of like Judith Butler's work as well, about like, gender politics and all that has really played a role in how I see myself as a person. And I think blurring those lines is ultimately like where it plays the role. And this idea of like creating spaces that aren't super didactic and super obvious, but can be obvious on multiple levels and also can change through time. So that's why, again, like my approach is like layered, and all these layers have, lots of details in them. And I think about all those details being important, because if you listen to it over and over again, another detail emerges, or you're in a different perspective, another detail emerges. And I think that's like the kind of stuff that I want to create, is something that can live multiple lives and kind of like operate on different levels, and can also just reach different people at different times. And that's, I think, the like unfixity of a lot of that like feminist theory is what I, really adhere to.
You really let songs build, and you have songs in your catalog that go 7-8 minutes long, and I'm wondering, like, when do you know when a song is complete?
You just know. People ask me this all the time, and I'm like, I just know. I think, I honestly just know. I think that some songs that have been longer songs for me, it's funny enough, have started as like a 20-second loop, but I can tell immediately in that 20-second loop that this could go on for a really long time. Like you can hear a whole world in it, and you're like, this can just keep going. I mean, obviously you have to cap it. I mean, Villalobos doesn't cap his songs, so I don't know. Maybe you don't have to cap it. He's like 40 minutes. But like, yeah, I think with pop music that I'm making, I feel the importance is to be immersed, like it's an immersive experience. And I think that, a lot of pop music that's like 2.5 minutes long, it's about like, here's the hook, like it's giving it to you like really quickly and obviously, and like, you got it, okay, I got it, now I want to listen to it again. That's the point, right? But for me, it's like, I want to always play with like, I want to give you everything I can right now. And you might want to still listen to it again, but I want to just feel like the satisfaction in myself, like for myself, but also for the listener. But yeah, I think ultimately, like, you just kind of can tell. I can kind of tell when a song has like a longer kind of tail to it and a world to build on.
You spoke a little bit earlier about how like layering your own like voice and like experimenting with that like influences your sound. I was just curious about what actually is kind of like the number one thing for you that allows you to kind of keep the personality of James K and also keep it like fun and novel.
I guess it's a question sometimes I get scared of when people are like, what's inspiring you? What are you listening to? Because the truth is that I don't listen to a lot of albums these days. I think that my relationship to like listening changed a lot when I started DJing, which was about 15 years ago. So it's been a minute. So my approach to music is really like kind of like I'm like, well, they call them diggers, but I'm like yeah, I'm like in a cave kind of like searching for things. I'm searching for sounds, I'm searching for feelings, I'm searching for voices, I'm searching and all of those things on my journey of like digging and searching for these things is just pooled into what I want to then, incorporate. And I think that's what's really beautiful, because the core of what I'm doing is starting from my voice and always has started from this like songwriting place. And that was, so inspired by things that I grew up with, listening to. Like, I listened to a lot of blues when I was young. I listened to a lot of folk music, rock music. My parents are Deadheads, so like my first shows that I went to, like they're all Grateful Dead shows. So rock was like a big part of my like childhood. And maybe that's, why I chose guitar and the relationship to guitar was important to me. But I think that like I'm inspired by also just the communities that I'm a part of. I think that's an important aspect of what I'm doing. And I think being around musicians and being around artists, being around creative people, and nature, all these things pool into one big inspiration.
What I loved about Friend was how it deals with retrofuturism and how it crafts a sound that's completely yours and personal, but it digs back into obviously all these genres that you're listening to without it being cliche.
No, I think that it's pretty apt for what I do. I think that there is nostalgia in what I'm doing, and I'm aware of that, and I have been aware of that for a long time. It's been a part of my practice for a really long time. A lot of my early work as a visual artist was like completely about this nostalgia of like kind of like my childhood, and creating, and like kind of the point where like identity was created in my childhood. So it's just been a part of my work. I think what I care about is to still make things contemporary, and doing that through production and being really like inspired by new production techniques is like what keeps things contemporary. I think also what keeps things contemporary is you, because you're living in the present, and like really being honest with yourself and making honest work really, I think, is ultimately what makes something contemporary, because the decisions that you make in that honest space are gonna like challenge you and push you to say like, oh, this kind of sounds a little too much like something I've already heard. Like, how can I make it a little different? How can I like make it feel familiar but also feel like something new? And I think that ultimately makes something timeless, kind of riding that line.
Thank you for the great questions. Thank you, James K.
Thank you.
Good night.